Have you ever wondered why the economy sometimes feels like it's booming, jobs everywhere, stock markets rising, businesses expanding, and other times, everything suddenly slows down? People lose their jobs, prices fall, banks panic, or governments rush in with emergency policies. Why does the economy behave like this? What if I told you that the economy moves in predictable cycles, just like seasons? Today, I'm going to walk you through the entire economic cycle in simple language, using real events, and most importantly, explaining how you can protect yourself and even take advantage of each phase. By the end of this video, you'll understand what creates booms, what causes recessions, why depressions are rare but damaging, how businesses, households, and governments are affected, and how you can make smarter decisions in every phase. The economic cycle, also called the business cycle, is the natural rise and fall of economic activity over time. It has four major stages: expansion, peak, recession, and trough. After the trough, the economy begins expanding again, and the cycle repeats. This is not a theory. It's a historical pattern seen across centuries. What does an expansion look like? During expansion, businesses invest and grow, hiring increases, unemployment falls, wages begin to rise, consumer spending increases, stock markets perform well, GDP rises steadily, and confidence is high. This is the good part of the cycle. Real example, 2009 to 2019 global expansion. The US experienced the longest economic expansion in modern history, 2009 to 2020. Unemployment fell from 10% in 2009 to 3.5% in 2019, the lowest in 50 years. Stock markets soared. The S&P 500 rose over 300% during that decade. Tech companies like Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook expanded massively. What drives expansions? Low interest rates encourage borrowing. Consumer confidence rises. Businesses invest in equipment, hiring, and innovation. Housing markets heat up. How it affects households: more jobs available, easier to get credit, higher incomes, growing investments. How it affects businesses: higher revenues, more expansion opportunities, easier borrowing for investment. How it affects government: higher tax revenues, lower social welfare costs, budget surpluses become possible. How ordinary people can benefit: build savings while income is high, invest consistently, pay down high-interest debt, develop skills and certifications. Jobs are abundant. But expansions do not last forever. Eventually, the economy overheats. The peak is the moment when the economy reaches its maximum output before slowing. What happens at peaks? Inflation rises, asset prices become overvalued, borrowing increases too quickly, central banks begin raising interest rates, and businesses struggle to sustain rapid growth. Real example, pre-2008 peak. In 2006 to 2007, housing prices in the US were rising at double-digit rates. Banks were issuing risky mortgages, consumers were deeply indebted, and inflation was creeping up. The Federal Reserve began raising interest rates aggressively. That combination pushed the economy over the peak. A recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, but in reality, it means businesses cutting back, job losses rising, consumer spending falling, investment slowing, credit tightening, stock markets falling, and confidence collapsing. Let's look at a few real-world recessions. The Great Recession triggered by the collapse of the US housing bubble. Lehman Brothers collapsed, leading to a global banking crisis. Unemployment in the US hit 10%, and stock markets fell over 50%. Governments deployed enormous stimulus packages. Central banks cut interest rates to near zero. The COVID-19 recession saw global lockdowns halt travel, production, and consumption. Unemployment spiked within weeks, and global GDP shrank by 3.1%. A recession can be painful, but also temporary. Why recessions happen? Excessive debt, rising interest rates, asset bubbles bursting, external shocks, and declines in business confidence. How recessions affect households: job insecurity, lower wages, higher loan delinquencies, reduced spending and saving capacity. How businesses are affected: lower sales, hiring freezes or layoffs, difficulty accessing credit, declines in business investment. How governments are affected: lower tax revenues, higher public spending, rising national debt. Opportunities for ordinary people in a recession. Stock markets offer discounted prices. Housing markets may cool. Starting a business becomes cheaper, and high-quality companies trade at bargain valuations. But caution is essential. Avoid risky debt, build an emergency fund, strengthen job skills, and avoid panic-selling investments. A trough is the bottom of the cycle, the economy's lowest point before recovery begins. Depressions are rare, deeper versions of recessions. The last true global depression was in the 1930s. The Great Depression was the most severe economic collapse in modern history. U.S. unemployment reached 25%, global trade dropped by over 60%, and bank failures were widespread. Millions lost homes, farms, and savings. This period reshaped economic thinking and led to major policy innovations like FDIC deposit insurance, Social Security, large-scale fiscal stimulus, and active central bank intervention. How troughs work. At the bottom of the cycle, prices stabilize, job losses slow, confidence begins to build, governments and central banks stimulate growth, consumers start spending again, and investments flow back into the economy. This prepares the economy for the next expansion. Recoveries usually begin when central banks intervene by cutting interest rates, injecting liquidity, and supporting financial markets. Governments intervene with infrastructure spending, tax cuts, and stimulus checks. Businesses restart investment, hiring gradually returns, and factories reopen. Consumers regain confidence. Real example, post-2020 recovery. In 2021, global GDP rebounded, stock markets hit new highs, businesses reopened, and consumer spending surged. But this recovery also created high inflation, leading to the 2022 to 2023 global rate hike cycle. Here's how ordinary people can navigate each phase. During an expansion, take advantage of job opportunities, invest consistently, build emergency savings, and avoid taking on unnecessary debt. At the peak, be cautious with large purchases, avoid speculative investments, strengthen cash reserves, and review your budget. During a recession, prioritize job security, minimize high-interest debt, look for investment opportunities, and maintain a calm, long-term mindset. At the trough, position yourself early for the next expansion, rebuild confidence and financial plans, invest steadily when prices are low, and upgrade skills. The economic cycle effects: businesses, households, and government. When you understand the cycle, you make smarter decisions about when to borrow, when to invest, when to save, when to expand businesses, and when to reduce risk. The economy isn't random. It moves in cycles, expansions, peaks, recessions, and troughs, just like the seasons. History shows us, booms don't last forever, recessions aren't permanent, recoveries always come, and opportunities exist in every phase. The key is not to fear the cycle, but to understand it and position yourself wisely. So ask yourself, where do you think we are in the current cycle? And what decisions are you making today that your future self will thank you for? If you found this educational, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to understand the economy better.